Welcome to the League of Women Voters of Wake County Virtual Candidate Forum for the Raleigh City Council District C. My name is Gay Williams, and I am a member of the League of Women Voters of Wake County. The League of Women Voters of Wake County is a nonpartisan organization dedicated to empowering voters and defending democracy. We encourage informed and active participation in government. We help citizens increase their understanding of major public policy issues, and we work to influence public policy through education and advocacy. As a nonpartisan organization, the League of Women Voters does not endorse or oppose candidates and is proud to continue our long history of hosting candidate forums. The views, opinions, and content expressed in this presentation do not necessarily reflect the views or policies of the League of Women Voters. All candidates who filed to run for the Raleigh City Council District C were invited to participate in our candidate forum. Outreach included emails, phone calls, as well as certified letters inviting candidates to respond and providing citizens an opportunity to learn about their views. Thank you to all of the candidates. You are all here with us today. The City Council is Raleigh's governing body, consisting of 8 members who are elected for 2-year terms. The City Council sets city policy, enacts laws, and adopts the city budget each year. The current fiscal year 2025 budget for Raleigh is $1.43 billion, an 11.8% increase over FY 2024. The budget covers strategic plan actions. The general fund reflects a 13.1% increase to $732.2 million, covering the city's workforce, programs for vulnerable populations, and addresses growth and inflation. Other items this year are an alternative response program, affordable housing, and Dix Park operational costs. 3 of the city council members, including the mayor, are elected at large, while the other members are elected from 5 districts: A, B, C, D, and E. This year, District D is uncontested, so there is no candidate forum for District D. The mayor and the 2 at-large council members are elected citywide and represent and serve all city residents. This candidate forum is for District C. Candidates for District C live in District C and represent residents in District C. Today, we welcome candidates for Raleigh City Council District C members: Corey Branch, DeQuanta Copeland, Tamara DaCosta, Daniel Grant King, Jared S. Ollison, Tululipe Omakaye, and Portia W. Rochelle. District C is the southeastern corner of Raleigh near Garner. To repeat, all District C candidates live in District C. Welcome, Corey, DeQuanta, Tamara, Daniel, Jared, Tululipe, and Portia. Thank you for joining us today. We will ask every candidate for the Raleigh City Council the same questions. Your candidate group will answer 4 questions. The questions cover a range of issues relevant to the scope of the council. The candidates are listed and addressed in alphabetical order by last name. The speaker order will go as follows. The opening statement will be answered by the first person, first speaker. Question 1 will be answered first by candidate 2, question 2 by candidate 3, and so on. Before we begin, I'd like to verify with the candidates that you have not received the questions in advance. Could you each verbally confirm?
No, I haven't.
I have not.
I have not.
I have not.
I have not.
Did everyone affirm? I think so.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. You will each now have 1 minute for your opening statement. And because we're going alphabetical by first name and starting with the first candidate, we'll start with Corey Branch. Corey, you have 1 minute for your opening statement. Please go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I am Corey Branch, your current Raleigh City Councilman representing District C. I'm rooted, experienced, and committed to serving all of the residents of District C. District C has a lot of challenges. A lot of the challenges are things that have been neglected and have been underserved. But while I've been on council, we have increased our transportation coverage within the district. Also, over the last 10 years, we have increased over 2,000 units of affordable housing at multiple area medium incomes to cover all residents. We also have worked and continue to work to improve our community centers, and I look forward to working to increase the programming that is involved in our community centers so that all of our young people can increase their job training, their skills, and our young adults. I look forward to another term of representing not just District C, but Raleigh, my native city.
Thank you, Corey. DeQuanta Copeland, please go ahead.
I am DeQuanta Copeland, and I'm running for Raleigh City Council District C because I understand the importance of having the right person at the policy setting level. My extensive work in my community to address housing insecurity, food insecurity, educational program needs, the safety of our community, and connective transit is why I would like to ask for the support to be the representative at the table. District C is worse now than it has ever been in the areas that I just described. And I would like to bring my strategic planning abilities as a current governmental leader for Wake County Housing Department, as well as the previous vice chair of the Health and Human Services Board. And we need a representative that can not only represent District C in District C, but beyond District C's lines, all the way to the national level. So I want to bring that to the table so that we can heal our community.
Thank you, DeQuanta. Tamara DaCosta, please go ahead.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Well, my name is Tamara DaCosta. I'm actually running for City Council District C, as we all are. And one of the main reasons I'm running is because there's been so many changes, both good and bad, in the city of Raleigh. Raleigh has actually grown significantly over the last 20 years. And we have limited land left. So I want to make sure that we focus on the key topics that's affecting the citizens of Raleigh. And with the land that we have left, I want to make sure that we prioritize that. Also, too, there's lots of money that have come into the city of Raleigh, and I see less and less focus on our most vulnerable populations, which would be our seniors and our disabled members of our community. So I really want to make sure that we eliminate any wasteful spending and focus on those issues, as well as making sure that we put money into infrastructure, money for public safety, which includes our department. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamara. Jared S. Ollison, please go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm grateful to you. My name is Jared Ollison. I am originally from Raleigh. I've lived in District C my entire life, and my family has lived for 100 years. I'm the only candidate that can say that their family has been in District C for 100 years. And I have an extensive career in law enforcement, as well as I'm a United States veteran. I'm the former director of the Wake County Detention Facility. And so I know about budgeting, I know about managing people, and I know about allotting resources in the proper direction. I understand what it takes to keep our citizens safe, and I understand what it's going to take to redirect funding to make sure that we can help the underserved individuals in our community. I'm the only person here who's ever put his life personally on the line more than one time to save the people in our community. No one else can claim that experience. So I understand what it's like to get out and work with people that no one else wants to work with. Our current conditions in our community are very poor. They were not this way. This is the worst I've ever seen Southeast Raleigh, District C. And it's only under the management of our current city councilman that our community has crashed. So it's time to change. We need a new direction in Southeast Raleigh and District C.
Thank you, Jared. Your time is up.
Thank you, Jared. Tolulope Omakaye, please go ahead.
Yes, my name is Tolulope Omakaye. I am running for City Council District C because I love Raleigh. Raleigh basically saved me. My family moved here in 1997. I graduated from Enloe High School, and we were not doing well when we moved down here, but we were given opportunity to learn grace. I was able to meet my first teacher that actually cared about me and put me in public speaking, which I think has helped my life since. I am a small business owner. Founded a nonprofit over 13 years ago that served youth and young adults in this city and in the state and county through the My Brother's Keeper initiative, which is President Barack Obama's initiative to close the achievement gap for youth and young adults of color. I'm the former chair of the Raleigh Transit Authority. I'm the only other candidate other than Corey who has city governance experience in leadership with the city and decision making. I'm the first woman and first person of color to lead the Transit Authority. I believe there's a lot of issues in District C, but a lot of opportunities. And I want to be the one that helps lead us into the future to move Raleigh forward together.
Thank you, Tolulope.
I was waiting for the music. I didn't hear it. I feel bad about that.
Portia W. Rochelle, please go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. I am a resident of Raleigh. I've been here for 46 years. I am on the front line daily dealing with concerns and issues, good and bad, of our citizens. I served as president of the Raleigh Apex NAACP for 10 years, which put me into 6-7 different cities dealing with concerns, hardships of our citizens. So I not only operate in District C, I am citywide, statewide, collaborating, helping people to come up with policies to make a better life for our citizens. I had over 30 years of service in North Carolina state government, coordinating policies, rules, regulations for environment, health, and natural resources. That is my background. As an advocate, I will continue to be an advocate, a voice for the people, but I want to get at this table to write policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Portia. Do we have Daniel's audio or video resolved? If not, I'll move on.
We do not.
Okay.
And I have texted him. I've tried to call him. And I've told him we are trying to include him, but he needs to turn on his video and unmute in order to participate. I don't know why he can't do that.
Okay, we'll assume he's having technical difficulties and move on. And if others have a good idea about how to pull him in, if he joins halfway, let me know. But I'll move on with the candidates who are here. Thank you so much. We now move to the question part of the forum. You will each have 1 minute to answer each question. The first question. We know that Raleigh needs more housing. However, we've observed that increased housing construction often results in gentrification. How would you propose the city of Raleigh balance the construction of additional housing units with the displacement of current residents? And we'll start this time with DeQuanta. DeQuanta, you have 1 minute to answer the first question.
Thank you, Ms. Gay. Will you read that again for me?
Certainly. We know that Raleigh needs more housing. However, we've observed that increased housing construction often results in gentrification. How would you propose the city of Raleigh balance the construction of additional housing units with the displacement of current residents?
Thank you for your question. My proposal is to protect the communities by ensuring that we have mixed income development throughout our district, being as that it is the most gentrified community in the city of Raleigh. Also, we should be able to utilize our governmental abilities to incentivize the development, enhancement, and protection of affordable housing. So I would definitely propose a healthy relationship with development so that we can bring forth those that actually develop according to the needs of our community and not just align their pockets. Development in our community is a need. Then is that we are growing 56 people a day. And we just, as the leader of this that oversees it, we must be the one to guide the work to not further displace our community. Thank you.
Thank you, DeQuanta. Tamara, you now have 1 minute to answer the first question. Tamara, you're muted.
One of the main issues with housing is the fact that there are lots of international investors that come in and buy up large lots of property. And they also are owning homes as well as apartment buildings. So in order to be able to, as you said, balance housing, we need to make sure that we keep what land is available and the building that is available and construction that goes on. We need to make sure we allocate it to our residents. We also need to make sure that we have units available for multiple types of income levels and not just one or two specific types. So having a balanced approach, and also to making sure that we use the upward momentum of creating condominiums, high-rise buildings, to give people opportunity to own their properties and not just rent them, will be able to help with the affordable housing issue and gentrification.
Thank you, Tamara. Jared, you will now have 1 minute to answer the first question.
Thank you for your question. This has to be a multifaceted approach. As some of the other candidates have mentioned, there's no one fix all for this problem that we're having balancing between gentrification and getting affordable housing and having enough units for people to remain in our district. However, if we spend more time partnering with agencies like Habitat for Humanity, agencies that go through quite a bit of vetting process to make sure that the people who end up in those homes are likely to be able to maintain those homes, then we're going to have a more positive long-term result. So I would like to see more assistance from the city to agencies like Habitat for Humanity to make sure that these developments are developed at a price point where people can afford to move into them and can afford to stay with them. And I think the city needs to spend more time on that, and as well as building some of the condominium or complexes where people can afford to buy those instead of rent apartments long term. Ownership is the only way forward to prevent gentrification and to slow things down. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Tallulah, you now have 1 minute to answer the first question.
I think we need to start with protecting naturally occurring affordability. We have communities that are single family home areas that have people who live there for a long time and are on a fixed income, making sure that we protect those covenants and rezoning measures so that developers can't come in and obliterate affordability. We need to make density a citywide initiative also. District C should not shoulder or carry the weight of density in the city. There's a lot of the city that needs that. I would also look to incentivize homeowners to build density on their properties. They can participate in the economic development of the city by building tiny homes or extra units in their backyards. I believe we also need to regulate development right now. There's a lot of, I feel like, development for development's sake, which is not good for the district. Mixed income housing is also necessary for us to preserve affordability. We need to restrict short-term rentals or vacation rentals at this time. That's Airbnbs and things of that nature. People come in and flip their homes and turn them into that, because we need the space to actually have people who need to live, and making sure that we take care of all residents will help preserve affordability.
Thank you, Tallulah. Portia, you now have 1 minute to answer the first question.
Thank you. The citizens of Raleigh, especially in District C, are a little bit frustrated because growth development has now become gentrification. I would like to see us, the city, collaborate with the state and the federal government to bring in some type of grandfather clause to help the people that are already in District C so that they're not pushed out. That is very important. We need to work together to take care of our citizens. Gentrification it is just destroying the character. The Most people feel like they're being dehumanized because they're pushed out. We don't know where those people end up, and then we turn around and arrest those that are ending up homeless. So we need to work together to make the whole city better for all of our citizens. There are different programs that are national that we could follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Portia. Corey, you now have 1 minute to answer the first question.
Thank you for the question. When we talk about gentrification and changes in our community, we have to look at our root causes. And once we look at our causes, we can find solutions to resolve these complex issues. Some of the things that we have already worked on and I have working with Habitat for Humanity, when the city sold land at pretty much at $1 to Habitat so that they could build housing so that residents can have a sense of home ownership. But also working with organizations like Tribor, which is a group of African-American realtors, to understand the properties that are being sold, because a lot of times they have relationships with different people, especially of color, when we look at our community. But also when we talk about keeping our seniors in our homes, organizations like Village East, which is already partnering with the city, that is going out and helping residents and utilizing our city's rehab funds so that those residents can remain in their homes so that it can be passed on to the next generation. I guess the music didn't stop, so the clock went down.
Thank you, Corey. We'll now move on to the second question. We have seen an increase in crime, particularly homicides, over the past year. However, some neighborhoods are more affected than others. Raleigh police are challenged in dealing with this increase. What should the city be doing to help those communities that are experiencing higher crime rates? Tamara, we'll start with you this time. You have 1 minute to answer the second question.
Yes, crime is a hot topic, not just for the city District C, but for all of Raleigh, but primarily District C, because when I spoke with the police officers, they're telling me that they are having a decrease in number of police officers due to the budget. So prioritizing where we spend our funds and making sure that we put more money into public safety is vital for this community. No one wants to live in a city where there's lots of crime. It doesn't matter how attractive the city is, how many affordable housing units there are. No one will want to live here, and we will lose our prestige status of being the best place to live in the US. So prioritizing where we spend our money, making sure that education is vital, and also the resources police officers need is important. So we need to make sure that we prioritize whatever money that comes in there and get them not just a working wage, a livable wage, but we actually need to pay our officers higher so that we can attract out-of-state officers as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamara. Jared, you now have 1 minute to answer the second question.
Safety is paramount. I'm the only candidate who has experience in this area. I'm the only candidate who's had loaded firearms put in my face by trying to protect other people. If we do not create a safe environment, we have no environment to thrive in. What we must do is we must, number one, study retention, retain law enforcement officers so that they don't go to other agencies. Number two, we must implement community policing, a return to true community policing. It's the only thing that's going to keep these communities safe. It's going to rid them of crime. So we need to spend more time out talking with the public about creating community watch programs as we used to have in the 1980s. Those programs were very effective, and we have to return to community policing in order to keep the community safe. That is the only way forward for the community.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you.
Tolulope, you now have 1 minute to answer the second question.
I think we need to work with outside organizations to help provide resources for workforce development and youth engagement. I believe that creating a pipeline where young people can then become the police also encourages community policing. I believe we need more of community policing along with the police department. I think we also need to pay our officers a living wage and provide them affordability and housing. So that they can live in communities, because we know the communities that have police that actually live there residentially tend to have lower crime and better relationships with police officers. I believe that police also can work on creating a PAL program, which is Police Athletic League. Other counties and cities have that. That's a program where police work with youth and STEM programs and outside organizations to start building healthier relationships within community. I think that we can build a better relationship with the police force and community through engagement, through youth engagement, workforce development, and things like that. We can definitely help bring the crime level down and have a more safe community.
Thank you, Tolulope. Portia, you now have 1 minute to answer the second question.
I've talked with young adults about this situation, and which I felt like they were using it as an excuse that they don't earn livable wages. And a lot of them are forced to rob, do whatever they have to do to survive. So that's something to think about, is increase the living wages for everyone that's working. Also, community police, if it works. In most areas, I'm assuming it's working, but I had a personal experience with community police and they totally ignored me. So one thing I would like to work on is take everything serious when a person takes time to come or call you, follow up and work with the community rather than brushing them off. So again, community engagement and the city, the state, or whomever will give livable wages and it will help prevent some of the crime. Thank you.
Thank you, Portia. Corey, you now have 1 minute to answer the second question.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Certainly. We have seen an increase in crime, particularly homicides, over the past year. However, some neighborhoods are more affected than others. Raleigh police are challenged in dealing with this increase. What should the city be doing to help those communities that are experiencing higher crime rates?
Okay, thank you. Increasing police pay is something that we are currently working on and we should do, as well as looking at their overall benefits. Also, what we have to look at is our code enforcement and looking at some of the areas that properties have started to become in disrepair, that have allowed crime and certain things to kind of grow under the unwatchful eye, because people cannot see. A lot of times when you can see things, when you can hear things, people don't want to be seen. So working from that standpoint of working with our code enforcement, but also looking at our community centers. We build nice community centers. We have to increase our programming in our community centers to attract our young people, to attract our young adults. And when we talk about pay, the city will continue to work to increase pay. There's a current pay study to make sure that we are not just meeting the right pay, but we will be able to exceed it. And I look forward to the private sector following that.
Thank you, Corey. DeQuanta, you now have 1 minute to answer the second question.
Thank you. So our community safety is a direct reflection of what mental health and behavioral health crisis is. And because we have so many economic disparities, people are not feeling like their lives are valued. So we're expecting them to value the lives of others. If we as city leaders create an economic system for wealth, we will then also foster economic and community health. So we need to provide an actual system that values the lives of people and enhance living wages, educational programs, economic benefits that don't dehumanize the community. And until we address the disparities that is facing in our community, it's going to be hard to foster a safe community when it's full of trauma. Traumatized people, and we can offset that as city leaders.
Thank you, DeQuanta. We'll now move on to the third question. Raleigh is a city of neighborhoods, and we are seeing an increase in neighborhood concerns over growth versus overall city economic development. How do you balance the needs of those impacted while providing economic benefit for all residents? We'll start with Jared in our sequence. Jared, you now have 1 minute to answer the third question.
I'm sorry. There was some background noise here where I am. Could you repeat that question? I apologize to you.
Of course, no, I'm happy to. Raleigh is a city of neighborhoods, and we are seeing an increase in neighborhood concerns over growth versus overall city economic development. How do you balance the needs of those impacted while providing economic benefit for all residents?
Thank you for your question. Well, I think we need to place the emphasis on what made Raleigh great to begin with, and that's the people. I think if we do things to protect the people, to protect the neighborhoods, I think the economic situation will begin to take care of itself, because those people will be able to launch privately owned businesses in our community that we can turn around and support each other and provide that type of growth. Yes, we need large industry to support the city, but large industry in itself does not support the city. When economic times get rough, it is the small businessman, it's going to be your neighbor's business that supports the community. So we balance by investing in people. When we invest in people, then we'll be able to have great neighborhoods, and we'll have a good footprint for businesses to be here in our community, which will provide the economic lifeline that we need. And so that's the balance, is investing in your people, and businesses will naturally occur.
Thank you, Jared. Tolulope, you now have 1 minute to answer the third question.
I believe that the way that we do this is first by protecting our communities and neighborhoods and naturally occurring affordabilities. We have a community right now that's being sued by a developer so that he can obliterate covenants to build more density in single family communities. First, we need to protect single family homeowners. People have the right to own property outside of a condo in Raleigh, in District C specifically. So protecting those communities is important, and regulating development is a part of that. I think we need to incentivize homeowners again to build density on their property so they can be a part of the economic development, and provide grants to that effect so they can build more density in their backyards. I think also incentivizing more grants and education for small business owners that are already living in the city, because people move to it, come to an area to experience small business, not big business. So giving them more grants and experience and exposure and education, and providing up so that other people can also start small businesses in the community, I think would also be very helpful.
Thank you, Tolulope. Portia, you now have 1 minute to answer the third question.
The city of Raleigh has improved on how they communicate services to help small businesses, but I think it could be stepped up a notch to save those people that have invested in Raleigh and want to continue to survive. Starting new businesses, we could do more workshops on that to let people know that they too have an opportunity to have economic wealth. I remember some of the stores that were downtown, like the drugstore that was there for so many years. Well, they had to cave in, and I don't know, if we could have done anything to save them and to help them, but to have some type of service, financial service, to help save businesses that have been in the community for years, to help them continue to grow. We need to put more value on our citizens to help educate them on ways that they can increase economic wealth. Thank you.
Thank you, Portia. Corey, you now have 1 minute to answer the third question.
Thank you. As we look at our city, we've made some changes and modifications with our small business development in order to give them more attention, more focus. That's why we kept that department with the city, where the focus for large business is working through the chamber. We're also currently in the city. I am working with our planning department and other council members as we make modifications and update to our comprehensive plan, which is around growth and development. We already have made changes in our code and our policies to allow individuals to have businesses within their homes, within their communities. We have already allowed ADUs within our communities. We've actually left a template of designs that people can use to get them through the permitting process even faster. And all of that is currently on the city website. So what we have to do is continue to improve our communication of the tools and resources that we have and work with the community on improving them.
Thank you, Corey. DeQuanta, you now have 1 minute to answer the third question.
Will you please repeat it?
Certainly. Raleigh is a city of neighborhoods, and we are seeing an increase in neighborhood concerns over growth versus overall city economic development. How do you balance the needs of those impacted while providing economic benefit for all residents?
Thank you. One of the ways that we should, as city leaders should do, is make sure we open the line of communication, actually educate our community members, as well as partner with them to value the needs in their unique areas. Bringing forth a system that will cater to the people and not just build another system for visitors will be a major thing when it comes to the community benefit of our current residents. We as city leaders can partner with organizations, businesses that will actually pay a living wage to the people in our community instead of actually bringing people in to do the work. We have a lot of systems and projects coming down the pipeline, and our community can benefit from those jobs to earn a living wage so that they will not only be of the system, but they will be a partner within the system. Thank you.
Thank you, DeQuanta. Tamara, you now have 1 minute to answer the third question.
Raleigh is a city of neighborhoods because unfortunately for decades, a lot of people actually lived in Raleigh but worked outside of Raleigh. And so what you're seeing is a boom in economic growth where a lot of businesses are starting to try to come into Raleigh, which it should, as any healthy city would need to grow. So what that means is we need to have comprehensive urban planning. And included in that, we need to make sure that we enhance our infrastructure. What we're seeing is 40, 440, 540 is constantly getting bombarded by traffic at certain times of the day. And now even weekends, the traffic is getting very heavy. So we really need to sit down at the table and understand what the needs are of our city and make sure we address those key issues. Also, too, many schools are having to be built in certain neighborhoods. And so we need to make sure that the growth that we all experience, as every city has growing pains, we need to have these comprehensive measures in place. And that's what I would do.
Thank you, Tamara. We now move on to our fourth and final question. The City of Raleigh budget has increased 11.8% over the last year. At the same time, many residents feel we need to hold the line on tax increases. As a member of the City Council, how do you balance the need for affordability in taxes with the need to increase salaries of city staff and first responders? For this last question in our rotation, we'll start with Jared. Jared, you have 1 minute to answer the fourth question.
Yes, that's a very unique question. I think what we need to do is have the developers pay their fair share of taxes and stop giving out tax breaks to developers and to some of these businesses that are coming to our town. We welcome them, but they need to pay their fair share so that the taxpayers in our community are not burdened with paying an elevated tax rate because the city councilmen have failed to barter or leverage their power in an appropriate manner. So we need to make sure that we are making everyone else pay their fair share so that it doesn't fall on the taxpayers in our community. So we'll go with that first. That's most important.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank
you. Tolulope, you now have 1 minute to answer the fourth question.
I think it would help if I actually am going to piggyback on what Jared said. I think that's one of my ideas, also questions, the ideas that big businesses and developers who can afford to pay do need to pay their fair share. That should not really fall on the residents while they get tax breaks and tax cuts, especially if they're not building affordability, which is going into the issue where people don't have enough income in their homes to begin with to pay those taxes or pay those increases. I think that we also, if the city does not already create programs or invest more money in programs for people who are on a fixed income or lower income so they can be able to afford their livelihood and get some sort of tax breaks. I think if we also, like I said, incentivize homeowners to build density and give them something like a tax break for doing that, they then get a tax break and they get to participate in the economic development of the city. I think we also need to work with business owners to create more businesses that pay a living wage, increasing salaries and increasing viable businesses and giving people the money that they need to survive will also help us when it comes to having to increase taxes sometimes necessary.
Thank you, Tolulope. Portia, you now have 1 minute to answer the fourth question.
You may have heard the term that there are plenty of fish in the sea. Right now, most of the citizens in Raleigh realize that developers are going to come. So we need to get a handle on how we let them come in and take over our community. A lot of the citizens I've talked with feel that developers are bullies. So we need to get a handle on that and work with our citizens to continue to incentivize developers, but not just hand them the whole plate. We need to educate our citizens on how they can get tax breaks. A lot of people don't know about the program to help alleviate the heavy taxes. So we need to better educate the community. There's certain groups that do these workshops yearly, but we don't reach everyone. So we've got to figure out how to do a better job of letting the people know what is available for their assistance. Education is powerful. I think would prevent a lot of people from losing their home. And that is drastic for the city of Raleigh. We need a handle on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Portia. Corey, you now have 1 minute to answer the fourth question.
Thank you. I believe your question to me was around balancing growth in our budget as well as paying our employees. The city does not print money. So the biggest way of getting money, unfortunately, is through our property taxes, because that's where that comes in our budget under the general fund. When we talk about businesses coming to the city and the Valorum investment tax, that is what the business investment grant targets, is about the improvement that business makes to the community. All businesses do pay a property tax in Raleigh, and those property taxes is based upon the buildings and the properties. When it comes to the incentives that are only given when it is agreed upon with the state of North Carolina, as well as the Wake County government, then at that time it's based on income taxes that those businesses pay back to the state. That's where those plans and those rebates come. So I think with the experience that I have, I'm ready to continue to work and balance everything within the district and the city.
Thank you, Corey. DeQuanta, you now have 1 minute to answer the fourth question.
Thank you. Prioritizing our funding and where we put it, I definitely second and third Tolulope and Jared, making those that are coming to make the money in our community put back in to our community and not taxing our residents for what is not their fault. Also, the county has put forth a resolution that Wake County government pays all employees a minimum of $22.10, giving everyone a living wage, but also guaranteeing that any businesses that are coming into our community pay a living wage to residents as well. So as city leadership, we should be advocating at the state level. If we're gonna implement living wages within our community, also advocating for higher allowable income so that people can qualify for tax breaks, that even though they are making more money, they will not still pay more. So definitely prioritizing our funding and the way that we collaborate with our
Thank you,
community.
DeQuanta. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you, DeQuanta. Tamara, you now have 1 minute to answer the fourth question.
During COVID, the federal government gave the city of Raleigh almost $74 million. $20 million of that was actually used to purchase or acquire the DMV building. So we can see that the money's there. However, we need to eliminate wasteful spending. And the way that I propose doing that is by making sure that we utilize and access all the resources we have to see what is going on within the government, with the city of Raleigh. We need to do audits. We need to make sure that we implement stricter financial oversight. We need to definitely increase the salaries of our city workers, because that just helps with the economy. If people have extra money to spend, they can support local businesses, and then local businesses can hire more people, and then that is what stimulates the economy. But right now we're spending out more money than we're taking in. And so we need to make sure we do more oversight, and also make sure that we get rid of any wasteful spending and reallocate those funds.
Thank you, Tamara. We'll next move into our closing statements. Before we go to closing statements, I just want to say to our viewers that our seventh candidate, Daniel Grant King, had technical difficulties related to the storm and was unable to join us, although he did attempt to do that. So that's why he's not with us today. With our closing statements, we want to thank our candidates for coming today to participate in our virtual candidate forum. We recognize that running and serving in elected office is a considerable commitment of time, energy, and often sacrificed opportunities. The League, along with the residents of Wake County, is grateful that we have many capable fellow citizens who are willing to step forward to serve the important duties as a member of the Raleigh City Council District C. You will now each have 1 minute to make your closing statements. And for the closing statements, we will begin with Tolulope. Tolulope, you have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Thank you for having me on this forum with the League of Women Voters. I'm excited about my candidacy. I'm excited about the excitement that I've experienced in community around it. I am a leader that is prepared to hit the ground leading from day one. I'm excited to be able to listen to community and bring their concerns back to the city council table and advocate for them from that space. I have been in this community serving youth and young adults for over 13 plus years and creating programs and initiatives that have created outcomes and impacts for community. I'm a celebrated and awarded leader. I've been awarded numerous awards for my leadership, including 40 Under 40 from the Triangle Business Journal and their Women in Business Award. I was also just notified yesterday that I'm getting the President Joe Biden Presidential Award for Volunteer Service for my commitment in community. I'm excited about that. I want to take that leadership and those connections that I've made and that networking to move Raleigh forward, but definitely create a better District C for all. So thank you for having me. Tolulope Omokai.
Thank you, Tolulope. Portia, you now have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Thank you for having us today. Again, I am community. I've been on the front line of working with community, all types of issues, eviction, police brutality, and just being heard at City Council. I have experience as a public hearing officer, taking comments, taking it back to the body to make improvements. So I'm ready to serve. I have a proven track record of leadership. No one has been denied services when they reach out to us, or me personally. Many people still call me thinking I'm still the president of the NAACP. But you know, we help everyone, no matter what race, no matter what level of income they have. And I have an eye to see where needs need to be improved. And I'm willing to work. I will go the extra mile to improve the lives of our citizens. So I ask you to vote for me in District C. Thank you.
Thank you, Portia. Corey, you now have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Thank you for having us this morning. Thank you to all those who are on this journey to represent District C as we move forward. What it takes to run and to lead in this city and in this district are relationships and partnerships. There is no I in getting things done for District C or for the city of Raleigh, but it's about we. And as I sit here with you all today, I want to make sure that we continue to work together with all residents, with all partners, to continue to work on solutions. These issues are issues that are over 50 some years old that we've been dealing with, unfortunately, in our city. And we have made progress. We have included transportation, we have included housing, and we have included some economic development within our city. There's still more room to go. There's still more infrastructure to improve. And Corey Branch for the city of Raleigh is where we can continue this journey together. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. DeQuanta, you now have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Thank you so much for this forum today and being able to speak to the issues before you. I am the one that's in this race with the human service mindset that understand what the social determinants of health are, what are the health needs are of our community. And I would like to bring that to city leadership so that we can design a system that doesn't cater to building and parks, but we actually enhance the lives of the people. Changing what has already been done is the only way to be able to rectify the lives and bring enhancements with economic value, with creating economic wealth. Economic wealth in our community for all is a healthy community, and that's the only way we're going to do it. And I ask for the support so that I can lead and foster us developing a system that we all get to live in. So help me stabilize, unify, and uplift our district as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, DeQuanta. Tamara, you now have 1 minute for your closing statement.
The common denominator of everything we discussed today stems around money. Money is important, but where does the money come from? Does it come from the federal government? Well, we actually are government. Every single person that works in this country pays state and federal taxes. And so what's important is making sure that we have the right leaders in place that know what to do with the money that comes into our city, how that money is used, and how it will benefit all of people. But if we continue on the same trajectory that we are, we're going to have more housing, more taxes on those people who are working, which is diminishing our middle class. And that's who's suffering right now. So we need to make sure that we have common sense solutions that benefit all, not just the poor, not just the rich, but focusing also on the middle class, those who are paying money into the society. And I feel like with the right leadership in place and with great minds, we can make a change for the betterment of the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamara. We'll now have our last candidate make their closing statement. Jared, you now have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Thank you. You know, they always say you say the best for last. So I appreciate your time. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. I'd like to thank all the other candidates. And I want to say that Ms. Rochelle and Ms. Copeland, you all have my total respect for your answers today. Thank y'all so very much for your thoughtfulness. Listen, Raleigh City District C has a lot of challenges. I'm prepared to work to combat those issues that we're facing. I'm educated, I'm qualified, and I'm prepared. As a veteran, I take the fight to the problem. As a law enforcement officer, I take the fight to the problem. So I'm willing to put the time in necessary to make the changes in our community, to make our community safe for everyone, and make sure that everyone can remain in their homes, fight gentrification, and to make sure that we have money for our youth programs. I'm the only candidate who has volunteered to give up 30% of the money I receive from the city to youth programs in the community. No one else has matched that, and I challenge anyone to match that. If Corey was a medical doctor, he would kill all those patients like he's killed District C. Thank you all. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Jared. That concludes our closing statements. As we end our forum, we encourage you to visit our website, vote411.org. where you can learn more about the candidates on your ballot and find out the latest information on polling places, hours, and locations. Please make your voting plan for the upcoming election and encourage your friends and family to vote as well. Thank you again for joining us.